If the gopher is scared of the plastic explosive, he is a conspiracy theorist. They're setting up cameras, buying armored vehicles, millions of bullets. The training manuals say they're preparing to put us in, quote, re-education camps, official Army manuals. I can put it on screen for you if you'd like. Or just type in a new Army manual covers re-education camps, how to break our families up. It says who they're going to put in there, Tea Party people. And the IRS is targeting us, and you know, they're running torture camps all over the world. Everything's fine, Mr. Gopher. Not a plastic explosive or anything. Nothing to worry about, Mr. Squirrel, in your last hours on Earth. I mean, the tyranny is here. And I say the gopher is a conspiracy theorist. He should have gone and hugged the plastic explosive, even though he looked through the window and saw the greenskeeper with the explosives talking about his plan to blow up the gopher. Even though the globalists have got all these public documents, it's on record they ship in the drugs, it's on record they launder the money, it's on record. They had congressional hearings in '97 with this Inspector General of the CIA admitting it. But we're just supposed to go, oh, nothing to worry about, Mr. Gopher. Now, joining us for the balance of the hour is Kevin Booth. And, folks, he's really here because he was a producer for Bill Hicks. We're just going to go come clean since everybody on the Internet's exposed us. We're running scared right now. Folks, I am Bill Hicks. And I joked the other day and said that, and people said he accidentally said it. I accidentally just said it again right there. And, you know, it's actually kind of mean to the family, folks. Bill really did die of pancreatic cancer. And that's not why Kevin Booth is here. He's here to talk about American Drug War, too. I just want to be honest with folks. Actually, Kevin Booth is Bill Hicks. And Sam Kinison. He was good friends with him as well. And, folks, Richard Pryor didn't die. I'm going to be honest. I'm not Bill Hicks. I'm Richard Pryor. Okay? I'm like Michael Jackson. They took the pigment out of my skin. And I'm Richard Pryor, folks. I'm also St. Jerome and George Carlin and a Vatican assassin. So you're going to talk about American Drug War 2, which actually wasn't produced by you. It was produced by Bill Hicks. Kevin, do you want to come clean with the fact of how you were the mastermind producer behind my transformation?
Well, even though both you guys were still alive at the same time.
I'm Tupac Shakur, too.
We started the plastic surgery in the out at the porta potty at the public access station. We had our team of plastic surgeons behind the porta potty in the dumpster back there making the transformation.
But I'm sure you have sacredcowproductions.com. I'm sure you're. I mean, this has been going on for years now, man. They're digging through my birth records and stuff to prove I'm Bill Hicks.
Yeah, I was amazed. I went on YouTube the other day and searched it, and there's hundreds of videos now. So it's definitely, it's taking off. This one's taking off.
But it's mean to the family. Wings. It's mean to the family.
Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, what do you, I don't know.
And then, you know, when you got Russell Crowe calling you up asking if you're really Bill Hicks, you know it's gone too far. I can't handle it, man. I'm living in a Twilight Zone episode. I'm sorry. You want to address me as Bill now, Kevin?
All right, Billy.
No, but doesn't it kind of make you mad being good friends with Bill and being there when he died to hear all this?
You know, what makes me mad are just some of the people out there that aren't real crazy about you. Like some of the Bill fans that are not so crazy about you that are saying, you know, Kevin owes us some sort of...
Oh, they cut the feed right there. They didn't want us to hear the Bill Hicks thing. That was us cutting the feed. Kevin, your audio cut out. Say that again. Bill Hicks fans say what?
Yeah.
My fans say what?
You know, I just get a lot from like the Bill Hicks fans that aren't all that crazy about you, always saying, well, Kevin Booth owes us some sort of an explanation for his association with Alex.
But I'm Bill. I mean, well, how would you not keep associating with me?
I know they got the eye scanning to prove it. They can prove it. They've got everything. The one guy goes into detail. He like puts your eyes over each other. Anybody out there, just go to YouTube and just do Bill Hicks is Alex Jones, and you'll see all these videos.
Well, you know, we're getting desperate. We're getting desperate is why we're talking about this, right? This is damage control, Kevin.
Yeah.
All right, folks. No, for the family. I'm not gonna joke around about this. I am not Bill Hicks. Okay. I'm actually Bill Clinton's son. All right, we're going to be, no, it's true, folks. I have to, okay, we're going to get serious, get into the drug war straight ahead with Kevin Booth, American Drug War 2.
Jakari Jackson here, and I want to talk to you for a second about water. You know about ProPure, our flagship water purification system. But check out some of our portable water filter products at InfoWarsStore.com. The clearly filtered water pitcher. Also, for those of you on the go, we have the Athlete Edition filtered water bottle and the RAD Eliminator Pro filtered sports bottle that removes radiation. And keep in mind, we have replacement filters for all of these products. The ever-popular grab-and-go bag favorite, the Life Straw, the Crystal Quest shower filter system, and the Aquapod kit, great for mass storage of water. And while you're at the InfoWars shop, pick up a copy of our latest book, 31 Days to Survival. You can find all this and more at the InfoWarsStore.com. And don't forget, it's your support that funds our operation. Sign up for our free newsletter at InfoWars.com/newsletter.
Kevin Booth grew up in Houston, Texas. He was a teenager. Him and Bill Hicks were best friends. That's why we're getting into Bill Hicks. And I want to get into your new film and hold you a little bit in the next hour, as I got you on late. Larry Pinckney, one of the founders of the Black Panther Party, is going to be in studio with us. He's also going to be on the nightly news tonight. And we're here interviewing him for a film I'm making. But congratulations on American Drug War being, I've seen it in a lot of newspapers, cited as something that's really exposed the drug wars, the fraud it is, aired on a lot of the big cable networks, big hit. American Drug War 2, I've talked to people that have seen it, say it is a unrivaled masterpiece and blows the first one away. I mean, well, you probably are 6-7 years, correct me if I'm wrong, in the making of this. I know how that is when you really want to make a real film, and you just get obsessed with it. You moved out to L.A. to really cover the drug war more closely to make American Drug War 2. I think you told me it's been picked up by Warner Brothers. It's going to be in select theaters across the country. Very important to be a hit in theaters so it gets expanded everywhere. But this gets into what it does to children, American Drug War 2. And so we will be breaking that down and playing some exclusive video, audio clips never before seen here today ahead of its release. We're going to get into that. But since we bring up Bill Hicks, talk about growing up a little bit briefly with Bill Hicks, being his first producer with stuff like Ninja Bachelor Party and so much more. And then, of course, you told me the story privately. I think it's also in the best-selling book that came out later about, you know, being there the day he died of pancreatic cancer. You know, I'm not afraid to die, but I've got so much work I want to do. And Bill had so much work. He was so young. I mean, just a few minutes on Bill Hicks, remembering him.
Okay. God, I never know what to expect to come on when I come on here. You're all serious, then you get all funny on me. It's like a roller coaster ride. You know, I mean, that's an interesting thing because, I mean, you're going 100 miles an hour, and basically Bill was never a guy that wasted any time. And when he would be around people that wasted his time or just wanted to hang out, he would usually like bolt and go do his own thing. He was trying to achieve things. But definitely once Bill was diagnosed with cancer, instead of running around and telling everybody, he didn't want people to feel sorry for him. And he didn't want people to coddle him, and he definitely didn't want his life to slow down. So he kept it a complete secret, even from me for a long time, and basically just cranked up the volume. And he got as much done as possible before he passed away. And the whole time when he was sick, you know, it was believed he was going to pull through. I mean, you know, we're all praying for this miracle, and for a while the tumor markers were looking better, but we literally. He got sick while we were working on an album called Arizona Bay in my home studio. It was an album where we were doing music and comedy together. And we did Rant E Minor while he was sick. We worked on a brand new Ninja Bachelor Party. We did a bunch of TV shows and interviews. And we were working on a pilot for a TV show for Channel 4 in England called Counts of the Netherworld. And so Bill, even though he was extremely sick, probably in a lot of pain, he was just running to the finish line and knowing that this was going to be the legacy that he left behind on Earth, whatever that was.
Incredible. Amazing comedian, amazing political mind. It's just a ride. All right, Kevin, shifting gears into your film. I'm going from memory. Am I right? 7 years you've spent on American Drug War 2?
Well, I mean, you know, I've been on this topic now for about 10 years. I mean, just kind of like you with Police State. You know, you keep making the same movie and over again until you get it right. You know, we did American Drug War 1, which covered all the aspects of the drug war, from the Ricky Ross, CIA, crack cocaine, to the crystal meth epidemic, to private prisons and how they operate, up into touching on medical marijuana. Then we put out another film called How Weed Won the West, which is a little bit more of a playful film showing like the business of marijuana in California and what the future of business could be. And really back there in 2009, everybody was thinking like, this is it, it's going to be legalized. Well, things have really gone downhill since then. We've got another initiative here in California, Prop D, that we're supposed to be voting on. And so we've gone from having 1,000 dispensaries in LA down to like 130 legally operated ones. And so, I just got back from Denver. Now, if you want to be a pothead, go to Denver. Like, they don't even smoke marijuana anymore. Everybody smokes this thing called dabs now. It's funny. They finally legalized marijuana, and now marijuana is not good enough for them anymore. It's all about this dabbing thing, which is like this really hardcore, powerful stuff. I'm sure I'm going to get some people complaining that I said that, but it just seems like, how high can you get? But Denver's gone to pot in a good way. It was fun. It's fun. But if you want to like just go crazy and smoke pot, move to Denver for sure. But
marijuana didn't used to be as strong as it is now. It's like horse tranquilizers now or something.
Well, but the point of that is that really the stronger it gets, the less you need to smoke. And so if the complaint is that smoking things is bad for you, which it is, smoking anything is not good for you, then the less you smoke, the better. So people argue, well, this isn't your parents' Woodstock marijuana anymore, and that's why it should be against the law. Well, but the point is, back in the day, somebody would have to smoke 10 joints to rival the high you get from one bong hit of some of this.
Especially if you're vaping with Willie Nelson.
Yeah, or dabbing. Look up dabbing. Dabbing is like that's the next level. Of course, nobody could be happy. I was at a club in Denver. I just wanted to take a hit. I don't travel with it, and everybody's like, "Oh, you still smoke flower? Hey, look at this old guy still smokes flower." Because, oh my God. What an old timer. He doesn't dab. So, I'm sorry, but let's get into the film because it shows what this does to kids. Right. So off the bat, to start, I wanted to not start directly on marijuana. And, my wife and I, Trae, tried to have children for many years and haven't been able to have children. And so we decided to become foster parents here in Los Angeles. And we didn't do this as part of the film. It just is one of these things that became, and I've been accused of doing this for the film, but we actually ended up helping these children. You can't respond to trolls,
Kevin. You adopt a bunch of sheltered dogs. The truth is that those were the babies. Everybody's maternal. And so now you want to take care of real humans, and it's good you also take care of all the dogs.
So, here in Los Angeles County alone, there's 35,000 children that have been taken away from their parents in these horrible group homes and foster homes, and it's a business. The business becomes how many children can you stick in one home to make as much money. And so
this is really a CPS film. Is why it's so powerful. That's why I'm surprised they've picked it up. Get into that. What you discovered being involved in this.
Well, right off the bat, right before Christmas, this is not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before, we had a young girl, 11-year-old girl named Stephanie, brought to our home, and she was going to spend Christmas with us. Seemed like a totally normal, rational child, and then comes like all these bottles of pills, and they say, okay, you got to give her these in the morning and these at night, and it's Adderall, and we come to realize that she has to be basically given amphetamines in the morning and then barbiturates at night. And she just came from a group home where all the kids in this one group home were on the same exact regimen of barbiturates and amphetamines. And it's basically just a way of chemically controlling a group. It's like a chemical straitjacket.
By the way, about 20% of our military is now, they're doing that to them too. This is THX 1138.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. And so we and the thing was, we were put into a position of, if we didn't give her the medication, they would remove her from us because they were, screening her and testing her constantly while she was with us.
And you discovered they do this to all of them basically because they get more money.
Yeah. Well, basically what you find out in the foster system very quickly is that the higher, like the more problems your kid has, the more money you can make, and the more money all the social workers make, and everybody involved.
So you're a successful writer, filmmaker. We're not going to brag, but you live in a famous guy's former house, a nice place. You don't need this for the money. 3 wolves and 5 dogs isn't enough. You're paternal. You want to take care of some young people.
We're just trying to help a kid. You know what I mean? We're just trying to help a kid and experience something that we hadn't experienced before. And then jumping into raising a teenager with a lot of problems is a lot to bite off already. But, we went through quite a bit to get them the court order to lower the amount of Adderall. And here's something I'd like to say, and I know this is probably extremely irresponsible thing to say, And it's probably a bad thing to say, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me. But I believe that anybody who's going to give mind-altering drugs to a little child should have to take them first themselves.
I think that's a great saying.
I just think, you know what? I just don't think you should hand Paxil to some little kid and then wonder why he's like trying to tear his hair out. Why don't you take it first? And then maybe it'd make sense. Or, you know, I took one little speck of this Adderall and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I'm not kidding you. And this was just like not even a crumb of what this little child was taking every day. Oh,
my God. And then it makes them calm later once they burn out. It kills brain cells.
And it usually ends up making them want to become addicted to
Hey, I took speed twice. You know, in high school, people would talk me into it. So I never did hard drugs. I tried. I was like, I'm up for 2 days, and then I vomit for another day. And I want to, like, you know, basically get in fist fights with people. I mean, this is hellish.
Yeah, no, and it carves out a place in your brain that is going to basically make you an addict later in life because you... The studies show you're 4 times more likely to be a drug addict after they put you on this stuff. Yeah, so they know what they're doing. 70% roughly of foster kids are on up to 7 drugs. But yeah, get into the film. We've got some clips. What clips you want to go to first? Well, let's start the one about foster children before we get into talking about marijuana. So this first clip is just like a minute and a half or so about my wife and I fostering this child, and then it also has her sister in there who was taken to another group home, but we knew her sister too. And out of the blue, because she tried to, like, they quote, drowned another girl in a pool when they were just playing in a swimming pool, and she held someone else's little girl in her water. They diagnosed her as being schizophrenic and put her on all these powerful schizophrenia medications. Just never in her whole life had been, And
you're an expert on that because you took care of your late brother who was schizophrenic.
Yeah, she's not schizophrenic. I mean, maybe she has some emotional problems. Who wouldn't? If
well, putting kids on speed will make them become what artificially schizophrenic. Everybody knows that.
Well, what about just taking a child away from their parents? I think taking a child away from their parents, like, what child is not going to be traumatized from that? It's a completely traumatic experience. And so they start handing these kids drugs.
And by the way, since you raised this point, I didn't even know about it. We've talked about the film, and a few people have seen it out in L.A., the rough cuts. You bring up what trolls say about, oh, he put a foster kid now that, she's gone back to her mother and you've gotten authorization to put her in the film. He put her in the film. He did this to put her in a film. I remember the last 6-7 years, all the incarnations about prisons and enslaving and marijuana. And then I remember you telling me, now I'm going this direction because I discovered all this. Oh, my God, you're right. It's all true. It's so horrible. In fact, you even told me a few months ago, you said you didn't fully believe me about the CPS and stuff before.
No, it's crazy. But the thing is that when you get into it, it's not like any of these people are evil. I mean, we have these people in my house all the time. I'm friends with a lot of these people. We have caseworkers and social workers and county workers. I mean, the foster child we're taking care of now, she's 16 years old. I'm not kidding you, Alex. She has 20 people that work for her. It is insane. We go to these meetings where, like, it's literally like 20 people around a table that, I'm the intern for her social workers, management company, and they're all making money off this one child. And so the more problems too is like, oh, she lost her temper. We got to, like, up her level of care. Well,
they're at a pool and a little kid fell off and went under, tried to murder him, that we're going to put you on an antipsychotic.
Exactly. It's that fast. I mean, they don't even question it.
Okay, so what's this first clip we're going to play? Exclusive?
This is about us fostering this little girl, and we interview her sister as well. And just for the record, her mother is becoming an activist. She's back with her mother now, and it's all good. And believe me, they want to be in this movie.
And by the way, that's what you've worked to do, is get them back with their parents. You're telling me, can you say what you told me off record about how... I mean, the system doesn't really want kids back with their parents, do they?
Yeah, no, they fight it. And, we even get messages about, like, how bad they're doing all the time. And then we check in with them and they're like, no, we're doing good. And it's kind of like, it's like... No,
the system doesn't want you... Look, folks, they take people's kids that fall off jungle gyms and break their finger at school. And then they start an investigation at the hospital and then come to your house and find a dirty plate and take your kid for that when the kid breaks their finger at the school. I know someone that happened with. Let's go to this clip. Here it is.
If I wanted to become a foster dad, I was no longer allowed to use my homegrown remedy. Weekly searches of our home by seasoned California caseworkers with sensitive noses kept me on the up and up.
Weren't allowed to smoke pot.
Right before Christmas, the agency sent my wife and I an 11-year-old girl whose mother had been in prison for several years. Along with our new foster daughter, Stephanie, came prescriptions for the powerful amphetamine Adderall and a very powerful antidepressant sleeping pill. Before becoming our foster daughter, Stephanie had been living in a home with 10 other children for over 3 years.
Wow.
During that time, she was regularly sedated and put to bed by 7 p.m., and then woken up at 6 a.m. with Adderall in order to go to school, as were most of the other children living in the home.
You saved a victim.
Newly diagnosed as being schizophrenic and drugged accordingly, Stephanie's sister, Brittany, was also placed in foster care.
I started the medication in the group home, but before I had the medication, I was good. I was good, but then I don't know what happened, and they just put me on medication. You go away!
As foster parents, the more problems we could list our child with, the more we got paid. If a child throws something or makes a threatening gesture, we could raise their category of care. More drugs for the child equals more money for everyone, including the agencies, doctors, and on a grand scale, the pharmaceutical companies.
We don't drug our children. We raise our children and nurture them and take care of them. But the institutions that they end up in do it just to keep the logjam from getting worse, you know.
I'm 11 years old, and I feel kind of sad being taken away from my mom. And I didn't know it would be like that. And I've been in foster care for so long. I'm ready to go home.
Wow. You know, Kevin, you're doing something no one's ever done, and I think there's a reason you obsessed over this film it's been 7 years. The other one took 3. This is 7 or 6.5. And I mean, you really stumbled into something big here. And the fact that you're able to show this is just amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's taken some time. You know, you have to put in the time to do a story like this. I mean, we couldn't have just put this out while the girls were still in the foster system. We had to make sure that these girls got out of the foster system before we could tell this story. And so it was about a 3-year plan just to tell
the
this one
before and
story about
after,
these
I've
girls.
seen like 3-year-olds grabbed by the foster system, totally healthy, happy. 6 months later, their teeth have fallen out. They have black circles around their eyes. They look like concentration camp victims because you cry for mommy. They put you on drugs.
Oh, yeah. And the average foster home is not like our house. I mean, we're the, I'm not sitting here bragging and saying we got some great house, but trust me, like the average foster home.
No, you got a nice pad. But I mean, the whole point is, I listen, for a summer, I worked for a major carpet cleaner. And this is when I was 18. And my dad's like, get out of the house and get another job. You know, I don't care if you don't have enough with one job. Get 2 jobs. You're not going to be, that's good. Throw you out of the nest. And I got that job because it was a place where I could get paid $15 an hour back then because it was rough work. The apprentice got paid like 15. They had guys like 25. And you'd be there helping. And let me tell you, I had to go to the foster houses. And I'm like, what are these? And it'd be like some 3-bedroom house with kids that, you'd see like cages where they were locking them up, a dirty mattress, kids that looked like zombies. It would always be like some weird pot-bellied guy that, now I know, probably like a pedophile, was, wandering around. And then they won't investigate them because that's their people. And
I know, yeah. And they've passed the little tests.
And cops out there, you get to go in houses, and plumbers. Let me tell you, it's service people that see all this stuff, man. And I mean, let me tell you, fleas. We'll be right back with Kevin Booth. Folks, I go covering news for years locally in Austin, would have families contact me, and I would go and see the CPS take their newborn baby for no reason and file it with the county clerk with different names and a 3-year-old filing. Just so lazy, the social workers I saw, that I would go to court and there would be a different name on the paperwork, and they abused the 3-year-old. And I'd be there in court, not allowed to talk, and people would be like, they'd have a public, defender in the fake court. It's not even a real court, not a jury, family court. I actually saw this happen. I show these documents on Access TV. This is like 16 years ago. And one of the cases, I'm having flashbacks to this because it was such a wake-up call. And they would go, because you abused the 3-year-old, and it'd be someone else's name, we're taking this one. And they'd go, this is my first child. They'd go, psychiatric evaluation. And I mean, they would just take their kid because it was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and they could get top dollar. And I don't know about the L.A. system. I've read it's pretty darn bad as well. They're in Southern California. But they've had the doctors over CPS go public over the kids dying from the medications. And it is a holocaust, folks. And I know so much about it. It frustrates me because how do I explain it all to you if you haven't been a carpet cleaner for 3 months and seen it? If you have, and the creepiness of it. And then you don't want to attack all foster parents because a lot of them are good Christian people or, liberals, real liberals like Kevin Booth and Trae Booth, his wife, who I've known for many years, are really just big sweetie pies who love to take care of injured animals and stuff. I'm always like, oh, no, they found another hurt possum in the yard. Now they're nursing the possum back to life, Come over there with possums and raccoons they're nursing back to life. So they wanted to help young people. And then they found out about this, and I want to commend you for your courage, Kevin. What's the next clip we're going to premiere here on air for folks?
Well, thanks. Well, we're going to circle back into about children and cancer here, but real quick, I just wanted to talk about that in 2003, the U.S. government actually obtained the patent for medical marijuana in the form of the Department of Health and Human Services patenting cannabinoids. And this is going to lead into a thing that there was a Canadian man named Rick Simpson that discovered a age-old version of cannabis oil that cured his own cancer. And after he cured his cancer and thousands of other people's cancer with this ancient cannabis oil, he had to flee Canada because they raided him. And now a lot of people are trying to work to get this into the modern-day pharmacopoeia. And this brings up the main character. The main character in American Drug War II is a little boy named Cashy Hyde. And in the movie, I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts here on your show because I want people to go see the film on June 6th. But he basically was in a coma for 40 days with a peanut-sized brain tumor. The hospital staff told the parents, Mike Hyde and Callie Hyde, to make funeral arrangements. And Mike had been reading about this cannabis oil on the internet, and they snuck in, his wife is actually a registered nurse, they snuck in some syringes of the cannabis oil into the emergency room in Salt Lake City and started injecting it into their dying son's feeding port, just into his feeding port. And literally in a day, he pops out of the coma and he starts eating. And then the tumor shrinks. And that's kind of where our story starts.
And Tommy Chong says he drank the oil and it made his, and it years later made his cancer go away.
Hi, this is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, with some news about some new additions to the InfoWars store. Good health is freedom. When you're healthy, you're not a slave to the medical system. Everything works well, your brain, your body, even your spirit. You're a healthier person. And to help support that great health, Alex has asked me to source the cleanest, most potent superfoods and other similar products in the world and bring them to the InfoWars store. So we've done that. The brand name is Health Ranger Select, and we're starting out right now with these 3 products. We've got Himalayan salt from Pakistan, formed hundreds of thousands of years ago in an ancient seabed long before modern pollution destroyed much of the oceans. This is loaded with trace minerals, and it's pristine, true, full-spectrum sea salt. We've also got Natural Attitude Turmeric. It's an extract of turmeric, very potent, tastes great, alcohol-free. This is from organic turmeric out of India. And we've also got Clean Chlorella. And we sourced and did research on all the chlorella sources around the world, and we found the 2 cleanest sources that have the lowest levels of any kind of contaminants. In fact, this one is virtually free of all metals and all contaminants. It's called Clean Chlorella, and it's about 2/3 protein, and it's got chlorophyll and chlorella growth factor in it. Check it out online. It's an amazing superfood that athletes are using and people are using to help support healthy lifestyles. It's fantastic. This is all packaged in our certified organic facility here in Central Texas. There we follow USDA certified standards, and we're audited every year by the USDA certifier to make sure that we comply with all organic standards. That, combined with the fact that we only source super clean superfoods and raw materials from around the world, means that our products represent the cleanest and most potent products that you'll find across the natural products industry. Check all of these out under the Health Ranger Select brand name at the InfoWars store, InfoWarsStore.com. And we'll be bringing you more of these in the near future. Thanks and take care.
All right, award-winning filmmaker Kevin Booth is our guest. Larry Pinkney's coming in at 20 after. In the next segment, we're going to play 3 or 4 other exclusive clips here with people recovering from cancer with cannabis oil, the CPS drugging kids with deadly drugs, Just inside 7-year, really it's a 10-year investigation, but he put out American Drug War, the first one in like 4 years, and now this will be 6, 7 years on this one. And Kevin Booth's our guest right now. Next segment, those clips are coming up. We're going to talk about world news and events with Larry Pinckney coming up as well. Kevin, well, what are other points people need to know about the process of 7 years making a film and the different stages it went through, different things you look at in the film?
Well, I mean, the process is basically just going out into the world and just, having relationships with people. And, and these relationships take time. And everything, just like a fine wine, it has to go through its natural process. And, films like these, they just can't be rushed. The thing about fostering the girls, we couldn't just turn around and stick that out on the internet. We would have gotten them in trouble. We would have gotten in trouble. We would have lost them. So there's just has to be, a process to that. And also in this movie, we follow this young boy fighting cancer for 2 years. And so we watch a 2-year battle, a 2-year roller coaster ride in the film. So some time goes by on this thing, and it's just been an evolution of doing this. I also go out and I do lectures all across the country at different universities, and so just getting to talk to kids about this and what their feelings are, and I guess I've tried to make myself a little bit of an expert in the field. And that's why I just keep staying on the topic of drugs.
It's really incredible what you've been able to put together. We're going to break here in a few minutes, but what are the next 4 clips? We already talked about one. Clip number 2 we're going to play coming up. Then you've got a bunch of other clips we're going to be premiering here today. Tell people about some of what's coming up.
Well, the next clip is about rediscovering cannabis oil, and it just talks about this, basically how just 100 years ago, this cannabis oil was in every doctor's black bag, and because of the drug war, how it's been demonized and that people are being refused this incredible medicine, and how the FDA and the pharmaceutical companies are set up to where you can't patent a plant. And so therefore, what they're trying to do, and you've got the Department of Health and Human Services now that has gotten a patent to cannabinoids, and this should worry people because what a lot of people believe they're going to do now is they're going to start stripping the plant down and trying to just patent just like little various things. So you'll have to buy this one spray to get this one aspect of the marijuana plant. You'll have to take this one pill to get that aspect of it. And instead of just being able to consume the one natural plant and get everything, is
they're also talking about GMOing it and only allowing you to have the GMO and then banning everything else, of course. Oh, we just lost.
Mixing it up out there.
Yeah, your audio's cutting out a bit. We're going to go to break,
okay.
Kevin. No, we got another minute. What were you trying to say?
I said a lot of people already believe that the GMO strains are already being mixed in with all the really high-end seeds. So that that conspiracy has been going along for a long time now. That people believe that the GMO.
By the way, you visited the big Emerald Triangle too. I mean, is that going to be in the film?
No, that's in the last film. I try to keep it all fresh, so I'm trying to cover things that this new film is mostly based on children. We went to Juarez, Mexico. We go to a neighborhood where little boys are being recruited at $40 a pop to commit murders for cartels.
Yeah, you have a lot of courage. I knew you did that. You're crazy, is what you're.
Yeah, that was a little crazy.
You learned how to be crazy from the doc, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Don't turn off the camera. Now, I do know karate, so if the cartel started shooting at me, I
block the bullets?
That's
like
right.
Wonder Woman?
I've got a green belt from the YMCA, so.
Well, I mean, we all saw your karate skills in Ninja Bachelor Party. You're mean green, not too far between. Obviously, you can take care of that. Last hour before Kevin Booth got on with us, I showed how ridiculous it was on TV with Obama with Marines with their white gloves. I thought it was absurdist, holding the umbrellas over them. And I'm glad Drudge picked up on that himself, obviously. I mean, look at this. Punch it up for people watching on TV. Obama calls in Marines to shield him from rain, fires IRS boss, who was leaving anyways, complete confidence in Holder. I mean, this is just all a criminal organization. Staged Fast and Furious to blame the Second Amendment, everything. And White House Down, set for summer release. All these movies where the White House is getting attacked by people. So you So the White House can be seen as this historic, heroes. Amazing. So that's just some of the news. If you go up to Infowars.com, you can see all the latest news there on the site. We're going to go back to Kevin Booth here in a moment. A Senate subcommittee investigating Apple's offshore tax practices. How about their slave factories in China with the suicide nets? Because I thought they're liberal. Police department forced to borrow ammo from local residents. I haven't even gotten to that Second Amendment news yet. D.C. moves to force gun owners to buy prohibitive liability insurance. That is devastating. Comedy icon Mike Judge talks to Alex Jones. That interview teaser's up there with some satire. Pretty powerful. Please get that out to everybody. Judge is going to get political in this interview coming up next week, folks. We taped it 2 days ago at his house. Google knows when you're home. Key article. Googleberg merger ushers in Plandopolis future for hybrid age. Council vetoes display of English flag because it's offensive to Muslims. Just all part of the balkanization. Obama-backed rebels carry out public executions. Warning, graphic video. That's just some of what's up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Now, Larry Pinckney's coming up for the balance of the hour into some overdrive. Founding member of the Black Panther Party, very interesting fellow. We appreciate him flying all the way to Austin, Texas, to be here with us for a new film we're making, but he'll also be live in studio. Kevin, we got like 9 minutes left. What's the next clip we're going to, and then we're going to go to it, for American Drug War 2?
The one about rediscovering cannabis oil.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll that now, Beavis.
Callie and I started sneaking the oil into his G-tube, and they started weaning him off of all those drugs I named off. And over a course of 2 weeks, we literally pulled him off of all 8 of those medications. We had him sitting up in bed, eating again, laughing.
Oh my God.
He had a quality of life that wasn't possible on the drugs they were giving him. And the whole time, the nurses and the doctors were saying, God, this is just miraculous that Cash is doing so well. So as all these doctors are saying, God, we don't understand how he survived all of this. This don't make any sense to us. I pulled that patent out the government has on cannabis as a neuroprotectant antioxidant.
Does cannabis really have an anti-cancer effect? I mean, we've seen the work of Tashkin. We've seen the data from the Kaiser cohort. There was an animal study that the National Toxicology Program did as well, where they fed mice and rats increasing dosages of THC via a tube in their stomach, and found at the end of 2 years that the animals that got the highest dosages actually had fewer tumors, both benign and malignant.
That's Dr. Donald Abrams.
Well, in the early 1900s, John D. Rockefeller got together with his rich friends, and they started all these medical foundations, and they took over the medical schools. And all they taught the doctors that were being trained is allopathic medicine, medicine from chemicals and poisons. And of course, they owned the chemical plants, and what a great way to sell their products. So they brainwashed the public and all these doctors into believing that this was the way to go. When in reality, the only thing that actually heals, is empiric medicine, medicine from plants. And old John D. Rockefeller himself, as I understand it, he lived to be almost 100 years old, and he wouldn't even take his own medicine. Well, what he took was empiric medicine, medicine from plants. But they didn't mind, selling the chemicals to us, did they?
The pharmaceutical company and the way that they operate, it has to be a molecule, no more than 5 molecules, in fact, to make up a drug to get approved through the FDA. Cannabis absolutely does not qualify. I think the pharmaceutical company figured out, well, this extremely popular plant medicine that everybody could grow in their backyard is not available for us to make profit at this time.
We have this interesting balance occurring as maturation of individuals fulfill their kind of cannabis destiny, whether or not they produce enough to be open-minded or closed-minded. And if you look historically at the nature of mankind, we've been ruled by people quite clearly that are what I would call unhigh people.
Again, Kevin Booth, Patriot. You can hear him going after the Rockefellers in this with the history. And this is getting picked up for distribution to be on cable. His other stuff has been on, Showtime, HBO, you name it. Now getting picked up. It's very important this gets seen in theaters everywhere. Where do people go to see the first theaters? Because if it sells out at those theaters, then, folks, they'll book it in other theaters, just like Obama 2016 and others. Yeah, give people the date, Kevin.
Yeah. Right, it's June 6th. And if you go to AmericanDrugWar2.com or just AmericanDrugWar.com or AmericanDrugWar2.com and look for the screenings through a company called Tug out of Austin, I want to make sure everybody's at the LA screening, everybody's at the Austin screening, also being done through Brave New Books. But you got to buy your tickets in advance to make sure that the theater books. So I need everybody to get out there and
that's right. You buy them, and then if it doesn't book, you get your money back. But it's all going to book.
Back.
No, the problem is this is going to sell out. Your stuff always sells out.
Well, there's theaters all across the country, so go in there and it'll take you to this website, and there's theaters all over Florida, New York. We got theaters booked everywhere, but we've got to sell all the tickets, or we got to sell enough tickets by May 30th, so please get out there and buy the tickets immediately.
And again, folks, I'm not making any money off of this. I'm doing this because I want this film to be a hit, because I want to save the children that they're murdering with prescription drugs via the CPS. Let's go to the next clip. We're almost out of time, Kevin. Tell people the next clip.
Just basically the torture that kids are still going through, and that we're using chemo still from the 1970s. This is a continuation of the little Cash Hyde story.
There it is. The next clip.
Cashie's mom, Callie, is a registered nurse, and although some say it's not necessary, she always insists that the oil be sterilized at a professional laboratory.
Daddy's got copies. She looks really good today.
Mike shares one of the many regrettable situations that Cassie and many other children with cancer commonly endure.
They weren't even going to try to remove his infected port till Sunday. I had to actually tell them that they were stupid.
And so every day they had to pull this patch off of his chest, and they had to pull the gauze stuck into the wound hole that was in him. Now that's fighting cancer with the American Cancer Society. That's fighting cancer with the pediatric oncology floors. This is the answer that all of our prosecutors, sheriffs, police officers, governors, this is what they say to be the best way for our kids.
It's all on purpose, folks.
I say bullshit.
Bleep that.
That's torture, man.
Have you ever seen a person who had cancer and used marijuana to help them eat or to alleviate their condition of somebody suffering from terminal cancer?
No, I have not.
And if you had, and I have, and seen that it helps them with their appetite and makes them smile, would you agree that it has some benefit to society for somebody who's dying, and that marijuana is the only thing that makes him eat and makes him smile? Is there not an efficacious situation there?
I think that's between him and his doctor.
Well, if it's between him and his doctor, why does the DEA take a position that medical marijuana is wrong, which you've taken? You've taken the position it's not between him and his doctor. You have a publication, which on page 6 of your publication in 2011 has the most insane and banal paragraph. The legalization movement is not simply a harmless academic exercise. The moral danger of thinking that marijuana is...
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentlewoman from California, Ms. Chu.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cancer viruses are in the vaccine. Pediatric cancer, some types are up 10,000%. They're killing all of us, and because they make money. They give you the cancer, and then they go and suck all the money out of you while they kill you and your family. And then they'll now take your kids and take them and do medical experiments on them. I mean, this is unbelievable, Kevin.
Yeah, no, and a lot of the footage that you're seeing in this thing, this was hidden camera footage that the family actually, were filming off their iPhones and so forth without the hospital's knowledge. So there's a lot of footage in this movie you're not going to see anywhere else. And I think it's very interesting at that hearing too. You got the chief of the DEA, Michelle Leonhardt, admitting that she doesn't know anything about cancer and cannabis, while you've got 52% of all Americans saying they want it legalized. And you know what I mean? It's just like Twilight Zone. And the DEA is still pumping out propaganda saying that anybody that belongs to the marijuana legalization movement is really a domestic terrorist.
It's amazing. Now we've got one more clip here. Let's go ahead and roll that clip right now. Here's the final clip. And then we'll get Kevin's comment on the final clip on that.
There are only 3 groups of which I'm aware that are very interested in keeping marijuana illegal. They're the police. A lot of people know about them. And that tends to take the form of chiefs of police, police unions trying to hold on to overtime pay, prisons, private prison industry. The other is cartels, because cartels make 70% of their profits from marijuana sales alone.
I was lucky enough to cross the bridge into Juarez with veteran journalists Brent and Craig Renault, who report for the New York Times.
The battle between the police and the cartels is really heated up, and the cartels are saying they're going to kill one police officer every day. And in the last month and a half, they have killed about 19 local police officers here, and just last night in this area, 2 more were killed.
The brutally poor circumstances of Juarez make many of the children perfect marks for cartel recruitment.
If you don't want to go into the cartel, they won't force you. They like for you to go by yourself, because if they force you, you can go and tell the police and they will help you sometimes. But if you go by yourself, they will ask you to do anything and you will do it.
And they give you a transponder number to squawk that's a little off the norm. And so when ATC...
All right, folks, listen, I'll have to air the rest of this tonight on the Nightly News. Thank you, Kevin Booth, for premiering this here. I congratulate you on your courage and your great work. People can find out more at AmericanDrugWar2.com to get these screened all over the country. Great job, Kevin. This is a revolutionary thing you've done. We have another revolutionary against tyranny coming in after the break.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.